Is it possible that there's something happening within your practice that's actually setting up a higher likelihood of someone no-showing for their first appointment? It's possible. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Physician Growth Accelerator, a show where we break down your private medical practice vitals into systems, give you the tools to diagnose the root cause of what may be restricting your growth, and prescribe what to do about it. I'm your host, Zed Williamson, and I believe that every system is perfectly designed to get the result it gets. I believe that because it gives us freedom as business owners to understand that if we look at something, an outcome that we either like or don't like, we own the fact that it is a purposeful outcome from a system that is creating a perfect outcome. Now, that freedom is because now all we have to do is go into the system and say, okay, let's tweak this, tweak that, until we like what it generates. Today, we're going to talk about a favorite topic of you, I'm sure, and that's how to reduce no-shows and cancellations. Now, I'm going to make a statement that I believe, and that is that those things frustrate you. It drives you nuts when there's no-shows and cancellations because it really impacts your schedule. Your schedule has got wasted time now. It's almost like if you were selling lettuce and the lettuce went bad before you could sell it, well, you can't use it anymore. Same with your schedule. But I'm also going to make another statement, and it might not be one that you are familiar with or understand, so I'm hoping to get you there, and that is, it's worse than you think. So there's the good news. It's worse than you think because typically in private medical practices, and yours might be different, it's not really shared how often there are no-shows and cancellations. So I'll make a promise. The solutions are not going to be, hey, buy a tool and send text messages. I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but that is just a Band-Aid. You're just handling a symptom. We want to dive into the root cause of no-shows and cancellations and get you the access to the behavior change stuff, the thing that's really driving it, and how to create solutions from that perspective. So by the end of today's episode, what I want you to walk away with is for you to say, you know what? I can affect this. I can give some simple tools to my staff. We can change some things that's part of this system and create a better show rate and less cancellations. We can create a system because we're already operating one that's creating something I don't like. We can tweak that system to generate what I'm looking for. That's what I want your belief to be by the end of today's episode. So first, let's split it up and just talk about no-shows first. Let's think about that as a patient narrative, because this is another thing that happens. It's on the schedule. You haven't met this person, and so the person no-showed. So you just think, like you assume all these things about this person. Let's walk through the narrative. Why would someone no-show? Did they forget that they booked an appointment? Maybe. Did they do it for fun just to waste your time? Did they do it with the wrong specialist based on what they're dealing with? Are they not dealing with the issue anymore? Did they find something out about their insurance? Did they find something out, or do they have a belief about your practice or you or the process? These are all things that might influence no-shows, and it's good to keep these in mind that we're dealing with humans, and there's always a reason, right? If this was extraordinarily important to somebody, would they have forgotten? Probably not. Is it possible that there's something happening within your practice that's actually setting up a higher likelihood of someone no-showing for their first appointment? It's possible. We know it's possible because we've witnessed it every time. Not every time, I should say. Multiple times. Let me walk through that scenario. Many times in a practice, we do things, in a business, I should say, we do things that feel like we're bringing efficiency to the organization. And sometimes that efficiency seems logical, but this stuff does not exist in a vacuum. And it could have unintended consequences as it relates to what we're truly trying to do, which is create patient throughput, ideal patient throughput. Those people that are the best for your practice, we want them to come through, make it all the way through. If you have an EMR and the process of booking a patient appointment requires that patient to do something before your appointment, it's likely that you're creating no-shows. What the heck am I talking about? What we've witnessed multiple times is a patient calls, the information is entered in, and then there's some kind of guideline. Like, hey, you're going to get an email, log into the portal. Hey, fill out this paperwork online. And it makes sense. Like, hey, let's save time. Like, no one wants to sit there and fill out 19 pages while sitting in the chair. It makes sense to do it earlier. Logic really doesn't drive behavior, though. Emotion does. So let me play out the narrative. Rob calls your practice, books an appointment. They say, okay, Rob, we'll see you Tuesday at 1 o'clock. You're going to get an email. In that email is a link. Be sure you fill that out before your visit. Okay? And Rob goes, sure. Then life happens. Rob skipped over the email. He didn't click the link, and now it's the day of his appointment. And you know what he thinks? They probably don't even expect me to be there. I didn't click the link. I didn't fill it out. I'm just not going. He's right from his perspective. Right? We created a scenario for him to feel like that appointment truly wasn't real. That is one reason why you get no-shows. So what could you do differently? When your staff is going through this process, they're thinking in a vacuum. They're thinking, it makes sense for the patient to do this in advance. It's better for them. It's better for us. This is better. We're actually setting up a scenario for the patient to think that maybe they don't have an appointment. So this is really simple. If your system is set up that way, your staff says, hey, Rob, it'd be super helpful for you to fill this out and get it done before the appointment. I know things can pop up in life. No matter what, we'll see you Tuesday at 1 p.m., whether you fill out that link or not. Okay? Yes. Boom. Now, if Rob doesn't see the link, he knows, well, I show up no matter what. And your no-show rate will go down. There's also times where the interaction on the phone doesn't feel extraordinarily beneficial to the patient. Patients can sometimes feel like they are a hassle to the staff. And so if someone treated that patient with attitude, if it sounded like the patient was interrupting their day, was making them do something that they didn't really want to do, they were answering their questions in a yes, no, I don't know, you can find out when you get here, that kind of experience, that patient is looking for any reason to no-show because they're already uncomfortable. They're expecting to walk in, and see your staff like looking at their phone, scrolling, going, oh, I have to help somebody. I was doing this. That's what's happening in the mind of the patient. Whether it's true or not, that's the vibe. So if you're putting out that vibe on that interaction, it doesn't feel real. How do you help that? So it's best to have your people truly think about patients as humans that are in need, and we are there to serve them, okay? Sometimes that's difficult to make that wholesale change across everyone who's going to be on the phone. But you can end every single phone call in a way that helps reduce no-shows. And so here is the exact script. Appointment's booked, everything's done. Okay, Rob, we'll see you Tuesday at 1 p.m. Hey, I got a weird question for you. You don't expect anything to pop up that would make you miss this appointment, do you? And then Rob goes, no. And your no-show rate will go down. Now, why is this? What we're doing is we're using commitment bias in our behalf. We're saying it's kind of a strange question because we're asking him to think about whether or not he's going to be surprised, and he doesn't really know. But what it does is it forces him to think into that day of when the appointment is and him to think about what potential surprises there are, and he's going to answer you. Here's what the other answers your staff will get. Well, actually, I do have a business meeting at noon. It's probably going to end in time, but sometimes those run late. You know what? Maybe we should pick another day. Boom, you just saved a no-show. It's a simple statement. You do it at the end of the appointment booking. Hey, Rob, I got a strange question for you. You don't expect any surprises to pop up that would make you miss this appointment, do you? You say it exactly like that, and your no-show rate goes down. Another cause of no-show rate. If you are doing a lot of online booking of new patient appointments, your system has to be extraordinarily tight for them to feel that it really went through and they truly have an appointment. So you need lots of text reminders, lots of notifications, a lot of, we are looking forward to seeing you. Because you don't have that emotional connection, it's highly likely that you'll have a high no-show rate. Personally, I'm a fan of new patient appointments, not going through a digital platform and then being on the phone. Existing patients, digital platform, makes total sense. They're familiar with you. It's ease of use. It's great for everybody. But it's just something to think about. Put yourself in the narrative of the patient. Do they actually believe that they have an appointment? And are you making it totally clear it's impossible for them to think that you're not expecting them to show up? Now, that's no-shows. Cancellations are different. Cancellations, and I'm going to specifically refer to as treatment cancellations. They've been to your office. You've built some trust. And maybe there's this idea that we're scheduling a procedure or some kind of treatment or some kind of diagnostic, and they cancel that. Why does that happen? Well, the patients will tell you that something happened in their schedule. They feel connected to you since they've already seen you in the practice, and that's why they're calling to let you know that they have to cancel. In reality, it's probably something else. When you discuss procedures, you are cursed as a surgeon or a physician. Even your staff is cursed. And that's because when you think of a little incision that's just an inch long, the patient is thinking that they're getting their head lopped off. Okay, that's just what happens. You've done the procedure 1,000 times. You know it's simple. You know it's a great experience that's not a big deal. It's a big deal to the patient. And so when you see cancellations related to procedures or diagnostics, it's likely because the patient has created a future that is probably not true. They're thinking, their brain is going into negativity bias and omission bias. Omission bias is this idea that me making a decision towards something, if it's bad, is worse than me just sitting in the bad I'm already in. It's really common nowadays in healthcare. So you're saying, oh man, here, oh, got it. Yeah. Oh, we'll fix this. No worries. We bring you in, you do light sedation, bing, bang, boom. You're out in 20 minutes and they're imagining you like carving them up with samurai swords. May not be logical. It may be silly, but it's the human brain we're dealing with. The brain is designed to keep us safe. It's got biases and heuristics, these automatic decision machines that are firing off like crazy. And if that person is in pain, has mental stress, maybe doesn't sleep well, maybe they're not that healthy, those automatic decision machines are absolutely in control of everything. And when you walk out the door going, yep, they're booked for treatment, they're walking out going, yeah, okay, I'll see you on the 20th. Yeah, no, that'll be great. There's no way in hell I'm going back to that. That's what happens. So what can you do about it? You can acknowledge those things. What does that mean? Say what the patient is worried about. Just talk about it. You've heard it all. You wouldn't be surprised, right? You could probably list every single thing a patient is concerned about regarding the treatment that you're going to provide. And so you just say it to them. Hey, Rob, so, we have you scheduled for this procedure. Sometimes patients are concerned about A, B, or C. You don't fall into any of those categories, do you? Well, actually, I was kind of worried about blah, blah, blah. Oh, great. Here's how we approach that. We've done this 1,000 times. The people who are worried about that, the first thing they say is, man, I didn't know it was going to be so easy. Whatever is real, obviously don't want you to make anything up, but you need to have the conversation. It can you can get into a position where you are a physician, a surgeon, you're wearing a white coat, doesn't matter how many stethoscopes you got wrapped around your neck. Sometimes we can believe that that's enough to get a patient to do what you say they should do. And they will tell you yes. And then when you leave and they go to a surgery scheduler, that's when stuff pops up on their schedule. Or they schedule so they can get out of the building and call back and cancel. You can affect this. And it's just that simple conversation. Hey, sometimes I hear from patients that they get worried about this, and this, and this. Do you have any questions regarding that? Because if you just say, here's my explanation, do you have any questions? The patient doesn't want to ask questions. They don't want you to think that they weren't listening. They don't want you to think that they don't understand. That's a self-protection thing going on in their brain. So they're going to go, oh, it sounds great. I have no questions at all, Mr. Doctor. And then they run out of there and they don't come back. So the key things to take away from today is you can affect change within no-shows and procedure cancellations. You are currently operating a system that is generating those no-shows and cancellations you're getting today. And what I've given you are a couple of things within that system to tweak so you can see more of that ideal patient throughput coming out the other side. If you were to go to physicianaccelerator.com and look at the vitals, you can click on vitals. This would be on the later side of the vitals, vital 8 and 9. And so you can also click check my vitals to see how you score in that world. And also always feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We'll see you again on the Physician Growth Accelerator. Bye.